This video is for those of you who've struggled to solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. So you can see that what I've done is I've given you a question at the top here. X squared minus 3x minus 7 equals 0. And you only need to use this formula, which is called the quadratic formula. X equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And that's a bit of a mouthful, but you don't need to remember that because that'll be in the formula booklet on the formula page of your exam paper. So you might think, well, what do a, b and c refer to? Well, in any quadratic equation, the general form of it is ax squared add bx add c equals 0. So we just compare the coefficients. So for example, a in this particular case is 1, because we've got 1x squared, b is minus 3, and c is minus 7. So I've identified those, and you can see them on this line. And I've now substituted those numbers into the quadratic formula. Look and see that I've been really careful with how I substitute these numbers in. I've used a lot of brackets to make sure I don't make any mistakes. So for example, minus b is minus 3, which later gives me 3. Minus 3 squared will be 9. And look here as well how minus 4 times 1 times minus 7 is plus 28. I've been really careful and I've shown each stage of my working out really carefully. Once you work through and you find that x is 3 plus or minus the square root of 37 all divided by 2, and do be careful it's all divided by 2, because a common mistake is just to divide this part by 2, then I can then separate it out into two different solutions. So x equals 3 plus the square root of 37 all divided by 2, or x equals 3 minus the square root of 37 all divided by 2. And I've written the two answers there to two decimal places. I'm just going to show you how to enter that into the calculator, just so you're absolutely clear on how I've been doing this. So I'd do 3 plus the square root of 37, and then I'd press equals, and then divide by 2, because that ensures the whole thing gets divided by 2. And you can see on the calculator just here, that's been clearly calculated as we wanted it to. And I just press the change button to get my solution, and around to two decimal places. So, using this as an example, I've got some questions for you to do down here. So question 1a, I want you to solve that and have a go. I'm going to add in a question 1b. I want to see if you can solve, let's think, we'll have 3x squared minus 5, and then we'll have that equal to minus 2x. And I want to see how might you solve that. You might do some rearranging first. There's a bit of a clue for you. Question 2, I know by looking at that that will not give me a solution. I'll give 50 vivos to the first person who can come to me and tell me how I know very quickly, without going through all this working out, that won't factorise. There's a particular part of the formula that helps me make that decision. And finally, 100 vivos for the first person who can come to me and explain a solution of how I can take ax squared add bx plus c equals 0 and show me by completing the square, which is your hint on that, you get the quadratic formula.